and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in winter, part 9 of our 4 Keeps adventure. Today is January 25th, 2021, and you are loved. And that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these games. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards where anywhere audio casts are made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, you can head to our Patreon at patreon.com/indooradventures to check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. So, if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to once again join us at that there Patreon. And that's where we'll answer those questions. Easiest way to do that, of course, is to feel free to post in the Twitch chat to the side over Mia, or join us on Discord. The link can be found in the description below of this video or audio cast that you are currently listening to. But if you already support us on YouTube, you already support us on Twitch and Patreon and all of those other wonderful spaces, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this wonderful show even more? Hey, guess what, buddy? I got you covered. Quite literally, in fact, because if you go to Indoor Adventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, clocks, aprons, shower curtains, and most importantly, we also have face masks. That's right, we got face masks with the symbol of Tiamat upon them. We call them Tiamasks, and for every mask that we sell, all of the proceeds of such end up going to help support Doctors Without Borders. So if you would like to help support a good cause or help support the show, you can once again go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. But that is it for my spiel, and as you've noticed, our dear friend RJ is actually not going to be joining us tonight. He's feeling a little under the weather, so we are just going to be doing a 3-man game. So LB, who are you playing today?
Oh god, I have to start. Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp, and I'm going to be playing Gwen, the halfling barbarian fighter.
Oi.
She, her. Ha!
Ha! Oi, I'm Cyber. I use he, him pronouns. I play Arjhan, the draconian ranger, who also uses he, him.
Hey everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I go by she, her. I'm playing as Cori, the Elven paladin, who also goes by she, her.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be your Dungeon Master. So, last we left off, your group was had finally made it to the Elven city of Caelum on the Isle of Winter, the last stand and lone city on the Isle of Winter. However, when you had arrived, you realized that it was buried beneath hundreds and hundreds of feet of snow. At that point, you all came to the realization that the only place that you could really head towards on this isle was the direction that the statue of the stone Caelum sword pointed, which was towards the center of the isle. Trudging through deep snows and harsh winds through mighty blizzards, you ended up fending off yourselves against some ice trolls as well as some frosty salamanders before you decided that you were going to make a slight base camp to try and at least get some rest after having such an intense fight. It was at that point, though, while Cori and Caelum were on watch, that Cori's raven skull necklace began to point as she heard the familiar calls of her, well, partner, Oliviette, calling off in the distance. What Oliviette was doing there, we still have yet to find out. However, as Cori attempted to perceive whether or not this was a deception, the call was cut short. And it turns out that this was not a deception by will-o-wisps as it had been previously, and Cori set out to try and track down the source of this voice through the blizzard. At this point, Caelum woke up the rest of the group, let them know that your dear party member was, as you all have frequently described it, elfing off. And Gwen and Arjhan, the two of you decided that you were going to go after Cori and through the blizzard to try and track her down to see what was going on. Cori, as you arrived at the crevasse, this same crevasse that you have seen multiple times, probably not like the same one, but at least a familiar sight, you ended up descending down and seeing a mote of blue spiritual energy that you recognized as your own winter spirit. You also saw the body of Oliviette, the drow sea captain who has been a recurring figure throughout this campaign. It was at that point, Cori, that you responded to a whispering cacophony of the Overbeing, who asked if you would take up the mantle of Coralon, to which you agreed yes, and using that winter spirit, popped that into Oliviette to bring her back to some sort of life. At this point, though, Oliviette dissipated into a kind of field of golden butterflies that seemed to alleviate themselves from the situation. And that golden energy still surrounds you, Cori, and it glows out of the crevasse that you are currently in. Arjhan and Gwen, while trying to track you down, also notice this glow coming not 150 feet away from where they were, creeping up from this crack in the earth itself. Caelum also sees this, but from rather far away, as he had stayed behind at your base camp. And Cori, as you had been holding Oliviette in your arms, she left you with a letter as she returned and dissipated. But as you are still with this vibrant golden aura around you, Arjhan and Gwen, I am assuming that the two of you are going towards this glowing crag in the earth.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's a golden indicator in an otherwise bleak world. It seems like your friend is probably there. And Cori usually gets up to some bullshit when she's by herself anyway. So like this kind of ticks some check boxes on the where the elf is she. As you two arrive at the top of this crag and look down, you see a golden light that just seems to be emanating from Cori that has these kind of like heat mirage effects that seem to be emanating from her. And she is on her knees with a letter in hand, and the ice around her begins to melt almost in a like half sphere towards the top of where she is. Cori, down in the crag, you have this letter in your hands, Oliviette, who in this place, from what you had seen, she has scars that you don't remember her having. Her hair was longer, and she looked older in the eyes than she did previously. After she had left you, you are just left with this letter. And I'm assuming you are going to be opening it, as you as a player have been wanting to know the contents of said letter for the last several weeks now that we have not been able to play. And when you feel this letter, there is something inside of this envelope. And when you open it up, you break the wax seal that is there, and the wax seal itself has what looks like a crescent moon and 3 stars that are next to it that you recognize as a symbol of Elistray. And inside of this envelope, you see what looks like a ring of jet with smoky white streaks coursing through it. And you pick up and look at this ring and unfurl the letter. And the letter says, "My Callus, you told me that where you were going, I could not follow you. You gave me this and told me to find you. You said that it would help you regain a part of you that was missing. I didn't know what you meant at the time, but as you always said, time works differently in the Feywild. I wanted to give you this myself, but that was just wishful thinking. You told me what happened, what's happening now. But through all of it, I had hoped that I could see you smile one last time. So promise me, my Callus. Promise me you will smile again. Maybe not today, but someday. And when you do, know that I will be there with you."
Cori is perplexed. She smooths out this letter, reads it over again several times, until finally realizing that she's not going to be able to make sense of this. She folds it, tucks it into her armor, and she's going to cast Investiture of Wind so that she can rise out of the crevice and rejoin her friends.
So Before you cast Investiture of Wind, Cori, your perception while inside of this crevasse is enough to know that as you're, like, with this golden shimmer around you, inside of this icy crag that you have found yourself in, there is something that has been revealed here. You see what looks like the upper part of a window that is set into a stone structure.
I think she gets ready to cast that and then like stops and kind of looks. And she'll call up to her friends. Gwen! Arjhan, are you up there?
And
yeah.
the two of you looking down as Cori takes note of this, looks up towards you, calls for you. That golden light just seems to dissipate away.
Yeah, what the hell's going on down there?
Come here, I found something.
Yeah, we can't fly, Cori. Well,
You can't fly.
oh,
Yeah,
God, I'm sorry. Should we?
I will carry Gwen and just like fly down.
What the fuck is going on, Cori?
I'm sorry, I never would have. Oliviette was here.
Like, actually, Olivia, or was it a Faye thing?
No, it wasn't a trick. She was actually here.
How is that even possible?
I'm not sure. She just looks down at the letter again, and she will produce the ring that came with it. She's going to kind of hand it to Arjhan, and say, she had this. I don't know what it is.
There is what sounds like a door opening as a purplish portal appears for a brief moment next to Arjhan and Gwen as Caelum pops through. It's a dimension door, and he he just says, "Well, I made sure to get all of your. Where are we?
He, like, in the bottom of a crevice. Or crevasse.
Ah. Okay. He just sort of like nods and, well, I got all of our stuff, so.
Thanks.
Thank you, Caelum. Cori handed me a ring and like
yes.
Vibe check?
Yeah. You can
Vibe check.
Yeah. Would you like insight vibe or like arcana vibe?
Not a vibe.
Like I don't
What style of vibe check is this?
Have I seen this ring before, Cori?
No, it's completely new.
I think I would want to arcana check it.
Okay. Yep. Make an arcana
24.
check. 24. This ring has no magical properties that seem to radiate from it.
And it doesn't seem like it was like it's a real fucking ring. It's not trig.
It is a real ring. It is made of a very nice petrified wood. That is what jet is. It has some nice white streaks running through it.
Jet ring, not magical at all. Does this have any sort of significance to you?
Aside from Oliviette giving it to me, she gave me this as well. And she hands him the letter, and kind of explains what's in it. That Oliviette said that Cori had come to her and told her all of this. I haven't. I didn't. It had to have been some sort of trick.
reading through the letter, am I noticing anything off with it? Lemony Snicket style, words misspelled.
Words aren't misspelled, but as you're reading through this, the language that is used seems very strange. When the letter states that you told me what happens, you told me what happened, you told me what's happening now, it seems like there is a discrepancy between when Oliviette received information to when she was able to deliver it to Cori. As if with your check, it almost seems as though Oliviette was told this information at a later date, but was somehow able to then deliver this note to an earlier date.
That seems to be the implication.
Yes.
Is that how it actually works? Is it possible to do something like that?
In this case, Cori, you would be making an Arcana check for Fey shenanigans.
2.
A 2?
Mm-hmm.
Cori, you are having that, like, Danae's thoughts are Cori's thoughts in this moment. Can this actually happen? Is that how that works?
She said that the Feywild, that time works differently here, but she can't possibly go back in time. It's not probable.
Arjhan, make another Arcana check. Caelum will assist you in this.
17.
So, Arjhan, from previous trainings that you had gone through, from your understanding of the Feywild, from what you have heard, is that the Feywild and the material plane do not exist in tandem for their timelines. It is then theoretically possible that if someone from the future were able to, they could, again, theoretically, jump into a point in the Feywild that is for them current, but on the material plane would be far-flung in the future.
It's possible. It's near unheard of, but it's possible.
I mean, I know that depending on where you resurface in the Feywild, it could change how much time has passed, but going back?
Well, it wouldn't be going back for her necessarily, though, because if she's never been to the Feywild before, then this would be her entry point. Right? Caelum says, kind of like looking at the letter, looking at the ring, very confused as well.
Gwen is staring like she's understanding, but her eyes have panic in them, like she doesn't understand.
Gwen, as you have this like 1,000-yard like like fucking like calculus lady gif going on right now, that is when you also notice that like from where Cori was sitting when you had seen her originally, there seems to be like this melted sphere of snow, almost like a half sphere from where she was. And in the corner, there is this like stony looking surface with what looks like almost like a window. And as you get closer, it looks like the top of almost a tower.
Huh. Gwen's gonna explore a little bit, but safely.
Within yelling distance of the party.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would like to snack, please.
You would like to... Oh, okay. I was like, you would like to snack? Like, you have rations. I'm not going to stop you.
No,
Yes, make a
LB is
stealth
hungry.
check.
That's a D12. I don't need that. Ooh, that's not bad. Thanks, D&D Beyond, for loading so quickly. 19.
Okay. I believe that the only person who might be able to check this... Arjhan, what's your passive?
18.
18? Yeah, Gwen, you are able to just kind of like everyone is like big brain energy, talking about timelines, all of this other stuff. No one's paying attention to the halfling. It's just like everyone kind of assumes that this is a little beyond Gwen's pay grade at the moment. So like the attention is off of you. You can just sort of sidle on up.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check out this window.
Okay. And looking inside, it is a window that then drops to about 20 feet down to what looks like there's some snow and other debris that seems to be resting here. But it's a room. And you can see that there's actually a very nice stairwell looking down. In this room, there's like a table kind of set up towards a corner. There are some art pieces, clearly of Elven make, of like, it's like a green field with a bluish sky. It looks very similar to the Windows, to the like Windows Vista background. But it's like Elven design and make.
Huh. I don't see anything living in there.
No.
It doesn't look warm.
Looks very vacant.
It's not. Is the window open?
Well, yes, you are staring through the window. It was literally just like an opening. There wasn't any glass or anything that was preventing it. It was just like a breezeway. Again, they all are not paying attention to you at all.
Gwen's gonna tie a rope and then tie it to herself. She's gonna tie it off on a piece of stable ice.
Yeah.
And she's gonna, guys, you do your thing. I'm just gonna look ahead.
What?
There's a room. It's weird.
We should come with you.
Okay. Let me know when you figure it out.
Cori has dug out her sending stone, and she's going to try and send a sending to Olivia. Why are we laughing? What happened?
Visual
I
gag.
just did a bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So when the process of the letter was being discussed, Caelum, RJ wanted to send to just shoot a sending off to Oliviette. And you hear him say, Oliviette, it's Caelum. Hope you're doing well. Have you been to the Feywild recently? And there's a pause. And then he kind of furrows his brow. She said no. Oh, I'm not going to say that part. He just sort of like,
Cori will slowly put the sending stone away.
She said that you had wanted to take her at some point, but he hasn't been.
I don't think I understand exactly what just happened. She was here. She died. My winter season was here. I used it to bring her back.
Did she look older?
She did.
And Caelum just talked to her.
She said that she hasn't been here. Not yet, anyways.
Stupid. This had to have been a trick. Whatever just happened, it made Shah very happy.
And you see, as you say that, Cori, Caelum sort of stiffens. I'm going to go check on Gwen. And he just walks over to where our halfling is currently rappelling down into an abandoned room. Yeah, and Gwen, as you descend into said room, looking around, like papers are kind of like neatly stacked. There doesn't seem to be like any writing on them. At this desk, there's no dust on anything, which is very strange to you as well. Normally when you find places that people haven't lived in or haven't been in around, normally there's like some kind of dust, but there doesn't seem to be any of that here.
I'm not going to touch anything, but I'm going to start looking at things more closely. Like, what do the papers talk about?
Do you speak Elven?
Oh, sure don't. Is it like halfling?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
And you see that most of these papers are actually like, there was a little bit of writing at the top, but then most of them are blank from what you can see. Like, it seems like this was a writing desk of somebody who was going to write about something and then just sort of left it. There's no ink in the pot that's there, but there's still a quill that's been set up.
Are there drawers in this desk?
Yeah, you can start rifling through.
I would like to do it safely because I'm by myself. Could I don't know, roll something? Can I check to see if it's trapped? Is what I want.
Yes, you can certainly check for traps.
I don't play a rogue for a month and I forget what I'm doing.
Yep, that would be an investigation check.
Yeah. Oh, good. I rolled an 11, so 10.
A 10. You're like checking for false bottoms, tapping the sides, like patting the desk around. There doesn't seem like no immediate explosions. There's no little slats where gas is going to shoot up at you. You're checking around the walls. Nope, there's no holes where arrows are going to shoot at you from. So you very gently pull the center bit out. And there is no trap.
Oh, solid, cool.
There's some more paper in there. Doesn't look like it's been used yet. There are some quills that have been set down. A stick of sealing wax. Looks rather mundane.
This is a very boring room. She looks at the rope. I assume that Arjhan's...
Caelum is actually at the top and is now descending down and kind of hops down at the halfway point. Just, what'd you find?
Paper and Elvish. You're just in time. It's all the stuff that you like. Writing.
Yeah.
You okay?
And he just sort of like takes a deep breath and says, no, but that doesn't matter right now.
Okay.
Matters is that we take care of this problem and get back to the plains.
Right. I don't know whose place this is. I can't read Elvish. Can you read it for me, please?
And Caelum like goes over to the desk, looks at it. Well, it's a date. But to be honest, I don't know what year the Feywild is in currently.
Right. If there's no other...
He starts looking around and, like, starts to just kind of, like, poke and prod at things.
Uh-huh.
This is old.
Yeah.
It's, like, really old.
Uh-huh. What? I mean, it's not dusty, though, right? So magic?
And he, when you say magic, he thinks for a moment and closes his eyes. And you see him make some semantic hand gestures as he casts a detect magic. No, there's no magic here.
Oh.
Not trying to keep... Well, no preservative magic anyway.
Uh-huh. So it's just like...
And
She just waits for him to fill in the rest of it.
and he just sort of like looks at the stairwell leading down. I wonder where it goes.
Yeah, we should wait for everyone else for that one, I think. Don't you think?
He nods and then just continues like purveying the room. Meanwhile, back in the crevasse.
I understand your hesitation to trust this, Cori. That's it. That's all I got.
This has to have been a trick. It can't have been me who sent her here. Because if it was me, it's me in the future. I would have known what would happen to her if she went to the Feywild. I would have been sending her to die. It couldn't have been me. It couldn't.
Did you say that you got your winter season back?
I used it. As far as I know, I'll never get it back. Conveniently enough, that seems to be a bit of a loophole. I'll never have to complete the Raven Queen's quest. I'll never have to give her Caelum. Or the child that's attached to him. I don't know what Shah's game is here. She claims that she has nothing to do with what the man who Caelum called father did. She refuses to claim responsibility for the actions of her followers.
Do you believe that?
Whether she claims it and whether I think she should are separate points. That being said, I have no power over her. She's the only one who knows my name.
Well, let's assume that this was a trick. A trick by Shah to, what, take your winter season away?
She isn't fond of the Raven Queen. This could have all been an elaborate scheme to prevent her from getting what she wanted. They have similar domains. Shah could be grabbing for power.
Well, let's assume that was her play. What do you want to do now?
I doubt that we will have answers in the near future. We shall have to be cautious. But before anything else, Arjhan, you should know. And Cori, strains for a moment. And then she, pauses and centers herself. And then she strains again. And then she just sort of puts a hand to her forehead and she says, well, you should know that there are things I can't tell you. Sometimes literally.
And Arjhan just closes his eyes and nods.
Let's focus on the task at hand. Cyprus is still a danger.
And our friends have gone into a hole in the ground.
Indeed. Well, they're just following my lead now, aren't they? She'll step forward and see what's going on down there.
Okay. And Arjhan and Cori, as the two of you arrive at this windowed opening, looking down about 20 feet down, there is just this room. Gwen is currently fiddling probably with something that she's found, whether it be a bauble, a knife, you never know. Whereas Caelum just seems to be looking around as well, but it looks like he's trying to gauge the situation as best he can anyway. And as the two of you end up descending down into this room as well, Caelum will come up to the two of you and he will ask Cori very bluntly, as he hands her the piece of paper that was on the writing desk, does this date mean anything to you?
She'll look at it.
Cori, as you look at the date, make a history check.
Four.
A 4?
Mm-hmm.
The only things that make sense are the structure of it, because it's month, date, or it's date, month, year. But the month isn't a month that you recognize. And the year is also a very, very strange number to look at, because it seems almost too small.
Well, I never really had a head for dates, but this makes even less sense to me. We don't have these sorts of months here. I've never heard of it. And that can't be a real year, can it? It's not a big enough number.
And Caelum's brow furrows again. And he kind of lets out a deep sigh and just folds the paper up, tucks it into his cloak. He then says, "There's a stairwell over there. From what I've gathered, there's no magic in this room, but as Gwen said, there's no dust on anything. Or am I still... Who knows, maybe there are people here."
Why would there be people here?
He shrugs.
So we're going from one mystery to another mystery, right? Am I understanding this correctly?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Well, if there are people here, then they would have had to find a way to survive outside of Cyprus's surveillance. Perhaps this is a good thing.
Uh-huh.
Cori
Go-
will approach the stairwell, and she'll lead the exploration.
Okay. So your group descends down this stairwell, and it wraps around quite a ways. You're guessing that you were at least... you were probably in a tower of some sort, and as you are continuing down, there are openings into more rooms that also look well maintained. Some of them have beds that have been laid out. More of these old pictures. Some of these pictures also seem very strange as well, because Cori, you recognize some of the landmarks, but the sky is of a variety of colors. The land masses around it don't seem to be the same kind of buildup that they were previously. Everything just looks sort of strange, like it's as you remember, but not. And as you continue down, you eventually reach the exit of this tower that you actually were a part of. And walking out, you are in what looks like a larger room, almost like not necessarily like a throne room necessarily, but a much more large gathering hall. And as your group sort of wanders into this gathering hall, there's no snow, there's no ice. It's cold, that's for sure. You can definitely see your breath. But there isn't like that ever-present chill of the winds that you were used to while being on the surface. It's almost like being in the Feydark again. But this is all Elven made, and it's all kept. It's all well maintained. And Arjhan, towards the back of this room, you see what looks like a form moving in the shadows.
We are not alone.
Hello?
Metaphorically.
No.
Is anyone here?
And now that there has been a acknowledgement of this shadowed form, you hear what sounds like glass touching against stone in a very rhythmic set as this form gets nearer, and as it gets within eyesight, within most of your visions, you see a humanoid form made entirely of crystal that looks towards your group, and it puts one hand in a very stringent maneuver towards its chest, and it bows forward, and it says in Elvish, "Lorethian, you have returned."
I'm sorry, who?
It is in Elvish.
Fuck. What the fuck is he saying?
Give me just a second. She'll speak to it in Elvish. Hello, from the Caelum of the Fallen Leaves. Have you been here for long?
And there is... you see it put one hand towards its crystalline chest, and its shoulders move up and down. And it has a laughter that sounds like the tinkling of glass. As it says, "Oh yes, Lorethian, I have been here for many, many years, as you have requested."
I'm afraid that's not my name. Do you know Common?
It nods. Would this be more suitable towards you?
She'll switch to Common. Yes, please. That's what my friends speak.
And the crystalline figure then, again, like very rigidly puts its hand over its abdomen area and then bows. "Greetings, friends of Letharian."
Letharian?
Lorethian, sorry.
Lorethian?
The Rathian. Yes. Old chums.
You may call me the Conservator.
Can I call you Con for short?
Please don't.
I feel like this is going to come up later and it's going to be hilarious.
If you insist. Although, your friend seems to have some pensiveness towards this.
No. Connor doesn't want
Gotcha.
this.
Conservator, what is this place?
This is Solaris Relthwyn, the finest elven city that ever was.
Ah.
And at that, Caelum's eyes get very large, and he reaches into his bag and starts pulling out one of his books. And it's one of the books that he took from the library at Caelan's Bridge.
Wait. Is that a name that Arjhan would recognize?
Make a history check.
It was Solaris
Solaris Relthwyn.
Relthwyn.
10. I ask because Connor is sus that this is the city that was made 1,500 years ago and bamfed away.
Do you guys remember this shit?
I have like 3 plot threads and they all happened 1,500 years ago.
Ah.
Yeah. With a 10, as well as thankfully Caelum had let you all know what he had found in the book. But yes, this seems to be the original Elven city in the Feywild. Or at least that is what the Conservator is saying.
Oh shit.
What?
Would you, Conservator, would you mind showing us around?
Gladly. To whom am I speaking? Would that you introduce yourselves?
Arjhan.
Greetings, Arjhan.
Gwen.
Greetings, Gwen. Caelum. Greetings, Caelum.
And you can call me Cori.
Of course. Lorethian.
It's not my name.
It might be in the future, dude.
Or in the past.
How old are you? Is that inappropriate?
Less than 30 summers. I am essentially an infant by Elven standards.
Wait, am I older than you?
Yes.
Sweet. I'm the second oldest in the group. Holy shit.
Yeah, and Conservator will gladly turn and say, "This is the Grand Hall. Many meetings were held here. Many dignitaries from far lands often met in these halls to determine what would happen for the rest of the wilds. This, of course, was before the primordials were tamed, and the rest of the elves decided to leave to go and start off on their own isles. They left me here, though I hold no grudge. This way. And
Wait, no one's here now, right?
no one has been here for many a time.
All right, cool. Why did they leave you alone?
And there is a pause. Do they not teach these in the schools?
I'm not from this plane, so everything here confuses me.
It is nice that you have decided to stop by, traveler. I was left in order to maintain Solaris Relthwyn. Everyone else decided that they were going to leave as part of Lorethian's decree. We were to establish bases upon the Isle of Spring, Summer, and Fall, and leave the area of Solaris Relthwyn behind as one of the last stands against winter. It was to be us, as well as Akilor. It was then that, well, my last visitor was Geldwen. Geldwen, of course, as you would know if you had gone to Elven schools, was the successor of Rodrin, the first Caelum of Winter. He and I got into a disagreement over the, well, treatment of myself. I had not seen them in quite some time. You were the first visitors that I have had in several millennia.
You said this is to be a stand against winter.
Yes.
Were you expecting winter to be a threat?
Oh, no. Not for quite some time. That is why Solaris Relthwyn was no longer needed.
But it was an eventuality.
Yes.
Were there any sort of preparations that were made here? Any defenses against winter, or were those supposed to be done elsewhere for that eventuality?
There are defenses that were left here. Some. However, once Vinrue had been contained into the ring, there was no need for such defenses. We had been successful in fending them off.
And what were these defenses?
There was an urn, which was lost. I do not know where it is now. But, if said urn were recovered, and Vinrue was defeated, you could once again bind them to a ring.
Good to know.
I have a question.
I hopefully have an answer, Traveler Gwen.
So you were supposed to, like, protect and, like, maintain this place, right?
Yes. I have done a good job of cleaning everything that you have seen.
Yeah, not a dust particle in sight. I appreciate that. You do realize that this place is completely under ice, right? Or was it made like that?
It was not made like this. Once the Isle of Winter was established as the home of the Winter Caelum, that is when the snowfall began. I was unable to ward off all of the snow. And eventually it built up. Freezing rain, snow, freezing rain, snow, freezing rain, snow again, until eventually many, many layers are what you see before. However, I have hollowed out enough for easy travel for myself and the eventuality of visitors. I knew someone would come. You are muted.
And that someone is us.
As luck would have it, yes.
Cool. Cool. So, can we, like, summon other people here to, like, defend against Winter? Like, have a big council that was supposed to defend against Winter? An army?
There was a teleportation circle.
Oh.
That we
Is it still there?
It is still there, although I am unsure as if it is operational or not. I do not have magical abilities.
Can you show us?
And it nods and says, yes, if you would so choose. This way. And leading you out of this great hall onto the steps, you see that it is a massive cavern that has been hollowed out. There are separate buildings. There are other towers. It looks like a mostly well-kept city. And Conservator says, the northern east quarters succumbed to the weight of the weathering above some time after Gwen stopped their visitation, so I do apologize. I tried my best to unearth it, but was unsuccessful in my attempt. There was simply too much pressure built up. However, if you will follow me to the library, and Conservator begins making its way over towards one of these larger buildings, and upon entering, the smell of old books hits you just like right in the face as you walk in. Gwen, this is horrible. Caelum seems to like take a deep breath in on this, and it is astounding how well maintained this library is. There are rows upon rows upon rows of shelves, and quite honestly, compared to the library that was in Caelan's Bridge, which was a university library, that looks like it could have been this library's annex. This has a ridiculous number of books in it. You probably have not seen this amount since you were all in Char's library.
By the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry.
And Conservator walks in and begins navigating you through the shelves, and says, the original Arcanists who lived here within Solaris Relthwyn would often make trips to other locations. This was not the first world that our elven peoples had come to. They have been to many other places as well, and we like to keep tabs on our companions. The Feywild stretches vastly, and we were in need of contact to see if there were places that were better suited for our kind. Well, your kind. And eventually there is a back chamber that Conservator will lead you to. And upon opening it, it seems like this was a magical research area. There are tables lined on either side, about 6 or so. And then towards the back, there is a small stone dais there's a small set of stone steps that lead up to a leveled area. And in that area, there's a dais in the back, as well as what looks like a damaged looking spell circle. It looks like it's been cleaned and maintained, but some of the writing has been smudged off. And Conservator says, I do apologize. I was not able to properly maintain this specific area. But this is where our elven peoples would come and go. Specifically the Arcanists. can I assist you in finding anything more? Perhaps you are all looking rather weary. You did not get a long rest in after your encounter with the ice trolls or from coming out of the Fey Dark, as a reminder.
Yeah, no, we did not. Do you have any scrolls, any ability to identify a magic item? Anything along those lines?
I am not able to. I am but a humble servant.
I see. Arjhan. She's
Yes.
going to hand him the ring that she just received from Olivia. I promised Gwen that I wouldn't go near Caelum. Could you ask him to identify this?
Sure. Caelum, is Caelum with us?
Yeah, Caleb's been there the whole time. Yeah.
It's like a weird middleman situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like, could you please tell Caelum that I'm not talking to him?
Can you tell Cori that I'm not talking to her?
Caelum, would you identify this?
Yeah, sure. Just give me some time. And
Do
he's...
be careful. I don't know if it came from Shah or not.
And he says, what's the worst that could happen?
Indor, how the fuck dare you? This isn't your character. The boy's not here. He's sick.
Just to spite us, he goes.
The person
he sits in a corner and attunes to it. It's all like, oh, I'll find out what this is.
The ring of the dark moon, I shall murder all!
you cannot give me this ring.
They made the second one ring.
The One Ring 2, Electric Boogaloo. Caelum is going to go over to just one of the desks that is still well maintained. He's going to set the ring down, pull out his own utensils, and begin casting an identify spell. And he'll do it around all of you to make sure that he is safe. And after 10 minutes, the ritual goes off without a hitch, and he says, it's a ring. It's not magical.
And it doesn't do anything. It's not magical.
He hands it back to you. It looks nice.
Could it be, if it's in the future, a wedding ring? Do elves do that? Would
I don't know.
Olivia do that?
I don't know. I don't know, Stephen. Do elves do that? I feel like they write contracts.
Yeah, the
At least
contracts
Elven do.
is like a Fey thing. Rings are definitely more of like a material plane thing. Does anybody have jeweler's tools?
No.
Okay, here's a follow-up question. Is it possible to bind Vinrue into a non-magical ring?
It's possible you could store them within the magic of a new ring.
Is this preferable? Is this what we're supposed to do?
I mean, if Vinrue gets out of the old ring, couldn't we just put them back in the already magical ring rather than risking putting it in that one?
If he gets out, it's probably because the old ring was destroyed.
But if there's no magic in that one, that means Vinrue's not in there, which means...
Oh, wait, no, I just remembered. In order to destroy that ring, we'd have to destroy all the rest of them, too. So, no danger of that.
Cool. It's a ring made of jet.
You can make an insight check, Cori.
Okay. I get advantage against deceptions.
Yes.
Oh,
You will
shit.
not have advantage on this.
Oh, okay.
It is a physical ring that you are holding in your hands.
Okay.
It's actually an imp. Get fucked. No.
How about a 16? Oh my gosh, I just watched Arjhan roll an Arcana check. What?
Yeah, that's a thing, but it doesn't happen very quickly.
No, that Arcana check was a while ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, shared
D&D
shared
Beyond.
rolling. It's
like
a thing that was spent time on.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Interesting. 16.
A 16. This does look similar to a marital band.
Well, that would make sense. Oliviette has basically adopted the material plane as her plane of choice.
I would think
Could be a
so.
marital
She's
band.
from the material plane,
She's from the Underdark.
which
But
is
she's-
same place. It's just deeper.
Oh,
Well,
I guess that's true.
I mean, we didn't know if the Underdog had separate marital traditions. It's
Shrugs.
It's a surface of tradition, right?
I think so.
Overwelder.
Does Cori understand that she's taken on the mantle of Coralon?
Make a religion check or an arcana check, whichever one you're better in.
Okay, 19.
Okay. Was this religion or arcana?
This was religion.
Religion. She remembers the feeling that came with agreeing to a mysterious, whispering, cacophonous voice.
Because of course she did.
It felt like... It definitely felt like you took upon a role that you could definitely see as taking on the mantle of Coralon, especially because you had brief memories of Coralon's existence, but in your own brain.
I don't know if she quite understands the depth of that decision.
With your 19, I would also point out that Coralon's full title...
Is Coralon the Wraithian.
Yes.
Yeah. She's caught that.
Okay.
But I think that internally, like, just to kind of explain this, she's not trying to deceive her friends here. She herself does not realize the implications of this. She thinks that, like, it means follower of Coralon, and maybe that she's, like, more directly more akin to a disciple, I think, or like maybe even like a saint kind of situation. But like actually becoming Coralon, she doesn't believe that, at least thus far.
Yep.
All right, moving on. I think Cori's going to be confused about this ring for a while.
And chronicler, or not chronicler, different character, conservator, will ask once again, would you like to rest for a while?
Yes, just one, give me just one moment. And Gwen's gonna, like, pull some of the party members aside and pull them down. Are we sure we can trust this motherfucker?
You look
he
over
like it?
and they're just cleaning the spot where Caelum was casting the identify spell.
Cori will give him a discerning look. I'll do an insight check. Once again, I get advantage against deceptions.
No deception.
All right.
He is a crystally boy.
I get a 10.
A 10?
Mm-hmm.
They seem like a servant.
Okay.
I mean, it's a construct. I'm not sure if it's programmed to lie.
I believe him for whatever the Yeah, whatever that's worth. I guess coming from me, that doesn't mean much.
All right, yeah, let's take a nap. Dude, are there like rooms here? Watson, hey.
Please, call me conservator.
I probably won't, and I'm sorry.
That is all right, Traveler Gwen. You will learn my name eventually.
Oh, God.
All right, cool. Bedrooms?
If you would follow me. And as they are walking, they turn and are walking, turn so that way they are facing towards you and say, Cori, as that is what you have asked that I call you, your quarters have been well kept, though I ran out of the jasmine scent you enjoyed on your sheets several millennia ago. I do apologize. Is there any sense that your friends enjoy particularly? I can try and see if I can scrounge up some.
Shit. Is there any particular sense that you guys enjoy? That maybe didn't necessarily come up in game, but may have been communicated to Cori at some point.
Conservator's also speaking in common if anyone wants to, I enjoy the scent.
Chime in.
I like the scent of lavender. But like cool lavender.
I am unfamiliar with hot lavender.
Perfect.
Sandalwood for Caelum, please.
Conservator nods, and you are taken to... It's like a small housing complex. There are several buildings that are there. You can take your pick of rooms, size of beds, all of that, and when you have determined what place you would like to sleep in, Conservator will do their best to find some old incense blocks and then light them in accordance. Gwen, you are able to have lavender in your room as you are ready to fall asleep, unless you wanted to share anyone's room to make sure that they don't run away or do anything crazy, typical things your party members usually do.
Yes, Gwen doesn't usually like to sleep alone, so I guess she would prompt to the group, who wants to bunk with me tonight?
Caelum will just raise his hand.
All right, cool. But you don't sleep.
Nope.
So you're just gonna...
Hope you don't mind the light being on.
Cori! She motions for Cori to join her instead.
Cori also doesn't sleep.
She does sleep. She trances. At least she trances. She's not just gonna be sitting there staring at Gwen all night. Plus, Caelum likes to, sometimes he starts reading out loud, very quietly to himself, and it gets annoying.
I won't leave the light on if that's any consolation.
I don't think the light will bother me. It's more so the mumbling.
I see.
Yeah. And then the all of a sudden, I see. Those get really annoying because you're just like,
the man isn't even here.
RJ is not, but Caelum
stole
is.
The capers.
And I think at that point, Caelum is just like, I think I'm going to be at the library.
Yeah. You got your stone, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any trouble, just call, okay?
Okay.
Even if you I was going to make the if you have too much to drink joke, but I don't think it fits. Let's go.
Okay. So Caelum is going to ask Conservator to direct him towards the library yet again. And the three of you are able to finally get a long rest in a relatively safe place. That, of course, being an ancient, forgotten elven city buried deep beneath the surface of the Plain of Winter. and that is where we are going to go into our break for the evening. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stick with us so far. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice. And we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon. What the hell?
Rolling thunder!
What the shit is happening? We have to stop this bit before 20 seconds or else YouTube's gonna flag us.
Good dig. I liked
Thanks.
that. You committed, you went low. You're not even wearing knee pads. Really impressed.
Thanks. I also ran into the dog.
I like
That's a
how
haiku joke for everyone.
I like how the one session RJ isn't here is when the break gag is 110% anime. The one time.
I'm clipping it for you, RJ. Pour one out for the boy.
I was like, we were sitting here for a while, and I was like, it's really cold down here, Indoor. Can you please start?
Speaking of places that are cold, hey, guess what? We're in an elven city deep below the surface of winter. So, is there anything that you all would like to do in your respective sleeping areas while Caelum is off? Well, Caelum is elfing off in the library with the conservator.
One's having a snack.
An actual
What's your
snack or a sneak?
A snack.
Okay.
What is this? Oh, is it
Asleep.
popcorn?
This is popcorn.
I have a question. This is an out of character question. Is the conservator a magen?
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
Sure.
you told me not to read that spell from Icewind Dale, so I did not.
You're allowed. It's fine.
No, it's too
I
late.
just haven't read it yet, and it makes me feel subconscious.
All right. So, Gwen didn't have anything she wanted to bring up. Arjhan was getting ready to go big sleepies as well. Cori, is there anything that you would like to do while in the same room as the halfling who is also trying to get some shut-eye? If the answer is no, we can just progress on and you all will be able to rest. If yes, feel free.
She lets Gwen sleep, but the next morning, before leaving the room, she'd like to have a conversation with her.
Sure thing. And Cori, are you going to try and change out of raven form?
She promised she wouldn't.
Okay. Sounds
Though
good.
now I'm curious to see why you wanted me to do that.
Just curious. No reason. Carry on.
Gwen, do you think it would be a good idea for me to be in summer form for when we meet Cypress?
I am literally the worst person to ask this question to. I think, like, from like a power standpoint, that's the one where you're all like mean, right?
Well,
And aggressive.
yes, and I have more access to fire abilities, and
Right.
I feel like it could be useful.
Yeah.
And if I want to try and do that, then there's a possibility it could fail. So I might have to try several times over. The
Well-
only reason I say is because I told you I wouldn't.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, what could go wrong? Like, that's not like a let's do it. That's an actual question.
Well, the last time it happened, the facade that Shaw put on me broke.
Right. That was the whole breaky thing.
Yes.
What were you trying to turn into there?
I think I was just trying to go back into autumn form. I had gone into raven form
Right.
after I was eaten by the Dyson.
Right. I remember you were a lot paler,
Yes.
or at least your ankles were.
Salacious. Don't look at my ankles.
It's either that or your crotch, Cori. That's
I'm joking, Gwen. You can
Oh.
stare at my ankles all you like.
Okay.
They're rather fine ankles.
I mean, yeah, they're a little like spindly. Like I feel like we should do more calf workouts, but it's all right.
It's really hard for elves to bulk up.
Yeah, yeah. It was said that it's hard for halflings to like lose a lot of fat, but like I'm at sitting at like I don't know, like 0.2% body fat right now, so like it's all in my tits.
I've always been very impressed by your distribution.
Thank you. Thank you. But to answer your question, if you do the Shar thing again, how do we... You ran away last time. How do we stop that?
There was nothing wrong with me. I ran because I was scared.
Right. Yeah.
You all were never supposed to find out. So I just sort of panicked.
Right. Yeah.
I won't run again.
Now that we have, like, you know, taken a step away from that situation, why didn't you tell us?
I feel like things had gone too far. I had reached a point where I realized it was too long since it had happened, that the betrayal was going to be that much worse after having kept it secret for so long. And I genuinely believed that you would never find out.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't understand. Like, yeah, I didn't tell you guys that I had, you know, as someone who I was betrothed to as a kid, but that wasn't because I was hiding it from you. It's because I legitimately didn't care about it, and it wasn't something that affected you guys.
This isn't something that I wanted.
Yeah.
I just made some bad decisions, and I was ashamed. Elistray left me. I tried so hard to ingratiate myself to her again, and she just never spoke to me. There came a point where it felt like Shah was the only option. And looking back, that probably wasn't true. I probably could have told you that I was in trouble, and I know for a fact now that it would have been much better back then. Yes, it would have hurt Caelum, but I think he would have been able to forgive me. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's something you guys are going to have to work out when this is all over. You know, I know you've been, like, really, like, in with your gods and, like, had personal conversations and felt them and all that, but that's, I mean, not typical, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I've never spoken to my god. I've never seen well, I kind of saw my god, but I've only had one experience with him, and I don't know. I don't think you need to fill that void with, you know, another god. That's what we're here for.
Yes. I think you're right. I think I would have been better off with no god at all than the one that I'm saddled with now.
You know, it would have, before all this, if you had told us and it wasn't a big surprise, then, you know, at least I would feel like, you know, if it came down to it and we had to go kill a god, I'd be down to try. But it's just hard to trust. I mean, we've been together for a long time now. And if I can't trust you to tell me things that are legitimately important to our survival, then I don't know. I don't know if I can travel with you. And I'm not saying that I don't want to travel with you. I'm just stating facts. Like, if let's say I had an evil spirit inside my head that was telling me to do terrible things all the time, like murder, but like murdering innocents, not like Grayskull, who tells me to murder like the cool things.
If that was the case, I'd punch him.
Exactly. I mean, like, you'd want me to tell you, right?
Yes. Yes,
So,
I would.
I thought we got past all this is all.
I understand that. I had hoped that we were past all of this.
But you were the one keeping secrets.
There came a point where the pretending became so natural that I hoped that I would never have to confront that part of me again.
Yeah. Well.
And while there are things that I'm physically incapable of telling you now, I will be clear with that. I cannot tell you some things.
Like magically, or like to protect me from something because it's so bad. Because that's bullshit.
Cori's gonna look Gwen in the eye, and she's going to physically try to say her true name to her. But first of all, she's going to turn on a bunch of lights.
Yeah. Light everything in the room that you can. Oh, yeah, there is no coffee that has been made. You're not even sure coffee's down here. Maybe they have some tea, but that tea would be old. But yes, lights on. And Cori, as you go to try and speak this name, it's not that like your jaws like clamped shut. It's just that there is that immense feeling of deep-seated dread that just begins to well up in your chest. Like if you said these things, something horrible, not bad, not terrible, truly horrible would happen if they were spoken aloud.
Okay. She tries to push back past that feeling. But I want to say that like we literally have a few like snippets of flashbacks to her literally unraveling, and what little she was able to witness of the Raven Queen, like when the Raven Queen had her big bad thing happen that turned her into the Raven Queen, like the sundering, basically. Like she has like flashbacks to those, and like you see like that dread in her eyes, and she stops herself.
What was that?
I think something really bad could happen. Not just to me, but even to the fabric of the universe.
Stephen, you still need to mute.
What's that? Oh, okay. Well, you're smart, right?
No.
I mean, well, yeah, all right. There's something I learned when I was a kid. It's called omitting the truth. It's not lying, and it's not telling the truth. I think we could figure out something here. There are some things that you just can't physically tell us, right?
She puts a hand on Gwen's shoulder and she says, I have never outright lied to any of you. I understand omitting the truth very well.
Yeah, I just meant like we could ask you stuff like, is it Shar that's going to be that is making it so that you can't speak these things to us?
Somewhat, perhaps. That's my best assumption, but I've been meddling with things that I don't exactly understand.
Oh.
Gwen, we've spent a lot of time worrying about whether or not Caelum is going to cause a second sundering. It
Yes,
might
we
be
have.
me we need to worry about.
Oh. Okay.
That being said, I want you to remember that, and I want you to communicate this to the rest of the group. She's going to reach into her bag and she's going to pull out a flower. Actually, what this is a dried bulb of a flower. It looks kind of withered and black with kind of purple undertones. And she's going to hand it to Gwen, and she's going to articulate this very carefully. This is a twilight lotus.
Uh-huh.
I'm honoring my promise to stay away from Caelum.
Okay.
But this gift is intended for him.
Okay. Do you want me to tell him anything or just give it to him?
You can give it to him. Could you please tell him that this is freely given? Truly freely given.
She starts writing it down. Okay. I will do this. Thank you.
He may not be willing to take it. And if he doesn't, that's okay. Just give him time.
Okay.
Share it with Arjhan.
Uh-huh. She puts it in one of her 100 pockets. And pats it so she remembers. All right, cool. That whole sundering thing, that is a problem for later. Are you still cool with killing your friend?
I mean, not really. Who wants to kill their friends? Nobody.
Well, yeah.
But I understand that I have certain responsibilities, and I will carry them out.
Cool.
Thank you, Gwen. I've put a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah, no problem. I'm pretty strong. Gwen looks off into the distance like she has no idea what specific weight was put on her shoulders that she didn't. Does she think she missed something? She probably missed something. She makes coffee.
Do you have any grounds with you?
Yes, I took some when we left the castle.
They're just... You have coffee grounds stashed in your 100 pockets?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we prepped rations for a while.
It's true.
That's true.
Yeah, I would say that coffee was definitely... could be one of the things that you ended up prepping.
I am going to go ahead and... I feel like I should give Caelum that when Caelum is here, so I'm going to wait on that.
Sounds fun. Sounds good. Yeah, and so you end up making coffee. Arjhan, was there anything you wanted to do in the morning?
No.
All right. So yeah, your group is... I feel like, Arjhan, you just keep sleeping until people knock on your door. In which case, hey, there's a cup hot and ready for you. It's travel coffee, you know. It's hot and it's ready. It gives you the wakey juice, which is pretty good right now. And when you all end up being able to reconvene with Caelum, he is in the library, and he has actually found, tucked away in one of the corners, thanks to the conservator, that there was a shrine that was built to Saloon. And this looks like a very, 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 very old shrine. but he has made a small adage to it, making a small little section for Mistra as well. And it looks like Caelum has just kind of spent some time by himself with his two goddesses. And when the two of you arrive, or when all three of you arrive, rather, he says, well, I've been thinking how we can try and fight Cypress. I still don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know where he is. I don't think any of us really know where he is, especially now that we've come down here.
I mean, once we get back on the surface, it's more of a matter of him finding us once what the wolves did to us wears off.
So is that what we're going to do? Are we just going to wait until... Are we going to wait until the magic that protects us wears off and then hope that the real Cypress comes to attack us? Or are we going to try and get the drop on them? Are we going to try and be active, or are we just going to hope that we survive? Because he's been sending out copies of himself against entire islands with things like dragons, with things like whatever it was that Kessen was. And he's been winning. We need to have a stronger plan than just hoping that the real one shows up.
Does this confrontational tone assume that you have made one?
One of the books that I found in the library was a tome of scrying. If I can locate where Cypress is, if I have a good idea of where I think he would be, I could get a lock on that location. That teleportation circle that's in there, I would just need a little bit of time. I could rework that.
What would you need?
I'd need supplies, mostly. And other than that, if anyone here has... Well, scrying works better when you have a piece of something. Does anybody have a piece of Cypress? Even like a pen, or obviously like a finger or a locket of hair would work the best. Pardon me for being morbid, but body parts work the best for trying to locate someone. Otherwise, I have to check the actual ruling for scrying.
Scrying works
Sorry,
best when
Arjhan.
you have... Scrying works best when you have stuff, like physical stuff. But if you know them personally, it could help. Getting a good description of them could also help. I feel like Caelum has a weird insight to Cypress with the fact that they look similar.
He's also seen Cypress in some of your memories, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And we've also fought copies of Cypress.
Yeah.
It really is up to you whether or not I have anything of Cypress's.
Cori, what were the trinkets that you started this game with?
Mm.
There was the
One was a handkerchief from my mom.
Okay, and the other was
songbird from my dad.
Okay, so yeah, no Cypress bits on that one. I think that the likeness, and Caelum wouldn't have taken a picture from your house of Cypress, but I think that he has a good enough memory that he asks Conservator if they have any glass spheres. And Conservator will just, yes, we have these things. As a more of like of course we have these things, but like, I mean, it's like asking somebody like, hey, do you have this in your house? Like, Conservator has lived here for quite a while, so he knows where everything's located. And Caelum will do the same thing that he's done previously of using a combination of encode thoughts and portrait to create a replica of having seen Cypress. And with that, he will begin.
And for that matter, he's even fought Cypress.
Yes. Not directly.
But like his copies.
Yeah, he has fought his copies, so he is at least partially familiar. So
mechanically, he has secondhand knowledge of the target, giving them a +5 to their save modifier. But as for his connection, he has a likeness or picture, giving them a -2. So it's going to be a wisdom save +3 overall.
Okay.
For the save.
Gotcha. So...
And basically, if he succeeds, then he's immune for the next 24 hours.
Okay. He does not succeed.
Ooh.
Yes. Because he rolled an 8 on the die, and Caelum has a pretty high spell save modifier.
Hell yeah.
So I think that this takes a while to actually get set up. As again, it's a combination of like 3 different spells that he's using. He would have had enough time. I believe he was working on transferring scrying over. If not, Caelum, I'm sorry for consuming your spell. We'll get you scrying again some other time. And he begins the process of scrying. And as he is doing this, he is going to use the full 10 minutes to try and get a good idea of where Cypress is, because as he uses this ability, his brow furrows. He's just standing there. He's not doing... It doesn't look like he's doing anything. He's next to a house.
Can you show me this house?
And Caelum nods. And he says, I want to take a look around first. I still have 7 minutes.
Please be careful.
And he nods, and
check to see if he has like bodyguards or any like generals or stuff around him.
He nods. And then after the 10 minutes, he looks back up and says, he was wearing a helmet. It looked like it was made of some kind of like black ice. Which, Cori, you know that the Ring of Winter, Vinrue manifests itself as armor for Cypress.
Right.
Whereas Wraith manifests itself as a sword, Pralnoth manifests itself as a gauntlet, and so on. And Caelum will... again, grab another one of those glass orbs and encode thoughts into the orb. And when you see the house that Cypress stands next to, Cori, you get a sinking feeling in your stomach. You've seen that house before. This was something that you had not considered when you had heard that you needed to go to face off against Winter in its heart to fight off against Cypress in what you assumed would be a massive fortress, something similar to that. You didn't expect to see Cypress's childhood home standing in the middle of an otherwise barren field of snow, with Cypress standing outside of it, magic spilling from his eyes, as from the dead center of Winter, he is able to command all of his copies, all of his armies, everything, without moving a muscle.
This is his childhood home.
And Caelum looks at you, just, why would he be there?
It's where he met the Caelum that saved his life. The Caelum that, when he saw him dead, he lost control of Vinrue. You remember his father tried to kill him. Well, the previous Caelum of Winter stopped him and took Cyprus in as his own. Makes sense that he'd be drawn to this place.
I have a question.
Okay,
Sorry, this is more of a tactical thing.
of course.
Would we be able to use that knowledge against him? Would we be able to fuck with him? Maybe one of us could look like his father? Or the other Caelum?
Seems needlessly cruel.
He is like killing a bunch of people and destroying your home.
It's not him.
Right. So if we could draw him out.
I don't know if it'll be that easy, Gwen.
I don't know if we can get through to him. But the fact that he's remaining there at his childhood home, perhaps that's what Vinrue's plan is. Perhaps this is the way that he's keeping him docile. It was that weakness that allowed him to gain control. He probably has Cyprus in an elongated state of trauma in order to maintain that control. Why else would he stay there?
That makes sense.
And Cori, you know that what you were able to see looks like Cyprus's childhood home, but he was born in the Spring Isles. This is just a
Fabrication.
fabrication, and it looks like this house is much larger than it normally would be. Maybe about 3 times the size that it would need to be otherwise.
This is all speculation on my part. We can't make any decisions based on it. But it is worth considering.
Right. Do you at least know the way?
Are you asking Caelum or Cori?
Cori?
Well, this house is supposed to be in the Spring Isles, and we know that can't be true.
Oh. So are we any closer to figuring out where he is?
Is this in the exact center of Winter?
And Caelum just sort of shrugs.
Cool.
I don't really have an idea of the geographical layout of this place, but if that's where Cyprus is, if that's where Cyprus truly is, then I feel like that would at least be close.
Conservator,
Yes.
how large is this city?
Oh, quite large indeed. At one point, it held several thousand Elven kind.
I see, but does it span the entirety of the island?
No.
Okay.
Does it go to the center of the island, at least?
If you were to traverse through the ice and snow, at one point a road would take you there, yes. Quite far underneath the surface where you know it now, but yes.
How deep would the snow be there? How far below the surface?
I have not left this place in some time. How deep is the snow currently?
We came in through, and I'll describe the place where we came in.
So the place where you came in, it was about... The crag itself was, or the crevasse itself was about 200 feet down, and then you went another several hundred feet down to street level through the tower. So you're looking at least 500 feet of snow.
Oh.
Okay. So, with all that,
I
You
can
said how many feet?
About 500.
If we can get to the place that we suspect that he is, I could cast a locate object or locate creature spell, and we can verify whether or not he's there.
I mean, even still, the road to him is going to be
Covered
like,
in
It's
ice.
going to be solid ice. We don't have It sounds to me like from all this, we're not closer to figuring out a way to approach this.
The teleportation circle.
What about it?
You can teleport us directly to him.
He nods.
I thought you
without
could
knowing
only
exactly
teleport to
where he
other
is.
teleportation circles.
Not if we rework it.
Okay.
Well, that's useful. Okay, so
Can you
looking...
do this safely without breaking magic or yourself?
And Caelum gives that kind of like sidelong grin that he sometimes gets when you talk about breaking magic or doing very skeptical magical things, and he says, I can try my best not to.
All right.
But this is something that I feel like I'm capable of doing. This is something that I can do.
All right.
I
So-
really want to insight check Caelum.
Yeah, insight check him. Insight check the boy.
He's not human.
8.
Equal opportunity distrust here.
Arjhan,
He's not human, but he's undead.
he is undead. Arjhan, you have also been with Caelum when he's like, don't worry, I know exactly what I'm doing. And then he turned out to be 14 after he cast a magical effect. He knows what he is doing, but typically things don't work out for the best. But they still do tend to work out.
If we just continue along on foot, how long would that take us, Cori?
To get to the center of winter,
Mm-hmm.
would I know?
To get to the center of winter, make a survival check.
Okay. Regardless of how long it takes, we're going to have to contend with his minions. I don't know exactly how long it would take for us to get to him.
And he doesn't
I
exactly
say with my survival of 9.
And he doesn't exactly seem like the kind of guy who would let us take a rest every couple of hours.
Arjhan, if Caelum believes that he can do this without long-term consequences, then I believe him. Or I at least believe that he's willing to accept the consequences thereof.
I won't overcharge to do this.
Do what you must.
All right. While he's doing that, then we need to figure out our battle strategy when fighting him, because he can summon stuff. If we can get this fight over with quickly, it's probably for the better, right? Can he like create things on the spot?
Are you asking Cori?
Yes. I'm asking anyone who would know. So probably Cori.
Is that something that, like, do the Caelan's rings have like specific abilities that are like unique to them? I mean, I guess they do, but like,
They're
would Cori
not-
be aware of them?
The rings aren't personalized, so like you don't get like each person who gets it doesn't get a new set of powers. They're fairly routine in what they do end up getting. The problem that you are encountering here is that you have never seen what a unleashed ring does.
Right. I don't know
However,
exactly what an unleashed ring does.
However,
Go on.
however,
However,
and this is something that the conservator will actually bring up while you are here. This was the city where Vinrue was first assailed against by Lorathian and company. I believe I still have some of their original battle notes.
you do.
I have kept them in good shape.
I'd very much like to see those,
And
please.
the conservator, again, like, does a deep-seated bow and motions for you all to follow. If you want to at least follow them to the to a war room of sorts, and leave Caelum to begin working on the magic.
Waller.
Okay.
Okay. So, Lorathian, Conservator will guide you to what looks like an old battle room. There is a large, kind of rectangular style table that rests in the middle of this room. And you can see that there are old shields, old swords, old weaponry that seems to line the walls. They aren't dusty, but they have dulled with time. They are not as sharp as they once were. It seems like these are definitely more ornamental pieces now. And Conservator will begin, or will actually go directly to one of the shelves with a tome on it, and unerringly plucks it out, and then comes back over to you, Cori, and then hands it over. And you see on the cover, in what looks almost like it was written in your handwriting, there are certain, like, changes that have been made. Like, you don't dot your I's that way, you don't cross your T's that way, but the strokes seem otherwise relatively similar. And it is just a plain looking tome. Brown leather, some gold embossment along the sides. And when you open it, the pages are old, they are weathered, but they are undamaged otherwise. And you see at the front, first and foremost, it describes kind of the overall ecology of what the original parties believed the spring primordial to have and exhibit, as well as weaknesses, strengths, that sort of thing. And then flipping through the pages again, you get to Pralnor, the all-seeing stag. Same kind of thing. It seems like this is more of like a battle plan as to what to do when fighting these creatures. Until eventually you see Ryth. And Ryth seems like you get the feeling from your ring of like, you shouldn't look at that. Like, just one of those, like, not embarrassed or shy, but just like, hey, like,
move along.
don't look in there, you goof. What do you think you're doing looking at my weaknesses? Stop that.
I am looking respectfully.
Respectfully. And that is when you get to Vinrue. And you can see that there is what looks like, it says Vinrue the Chilling Dark. And there is a like inked out sketch of what looks like a giant cat-like beast with only eyes reflecting in a unseen moonlight just outlined on this page. And it has descriptions of conditions that it is able to do of surrounding areas. It has effects that it can cause in the general region. And as you're looking at this, you see and can read that it is able to have a exhaustive blizzard at its command that can wear down any of those that might try to get towards it. It has the ability of summoning elementals made of pure ice at its disposal, which you are guessing is one of the unleashed effects of the Ring of Winter. The simulacrums that you see of Cyprus are a more humanoid version of these same elementals. It looks like it is resistant to magic, that it might have some kind of ability that prevents it or gives it some more natural defense, being a primordial creature of the wilds, to fight against these sort of things. And the other thing that you see that is most shocking is that there is written that when this creature begins to bleed, that when other creatures come into contact with its blood, they will feel an exhaustion and a chill that goes down to the very marrow of their bones. And what this means mechanically is that if you take cold damage while this creature has been injured, you must make a save, or your max HP will be deducted by that much cold damage.
Oh, boy.
It does not look like this can happen every round, but there is still consistency in the story that is being told here.
Okay. Cori takes that to heart. There are, I believe that there are preparations that she can make against that. She'll have to do some studying. But she makes her friends aware of that.
Okay, well, oh boy, I wish we could have gone shopping today. I could have found a
Conservator.
ring.
Yes.
What else do you have conserved down here?
Oh, yeah, do you have a ring of cold resistance?
And it sort of, I would say, looks confused at you, but it is just like a giant gemmy where its head is. And it says it does not.
Fuck.
Okay, well, you remember how you were prepared for the eventuality of possibly needing to fight Winter again. We're about to fight Winter again. Do you have anything down here that can help? In addition to these notes.
And it says that it got a nat 1. That any of the tools or utensils that would have been used to fight Winter have either been taken to the Spring Isles or are lost beneath the ice. May I be of any further assistance?
That's a long pause from everybody.
Are you gonna come fight with us?
I was not built for combat.
At all?
And it kind of like looks around, and then like you see that it barely has fingers to like grab hold of anything. It's not a delicate creature by any means. And it says, "My role is to maintain the city."
Right. You have done a wonderful job of that.
And it bows and says, and gives you its thanks. I would be unable to assist in combat.
Cool.
Well, I mean, until Caelum finishes, there's doesn't sound like there's a lot more we can do.
Dragon chest?
Sure. I'll pop out the board.
Okay. So as Cori is continuing to read through these battle notes on fighting Vinrue, Gwen, you and Arjhan are going to play some battle chess. I think we're going to call it Dragon chess, sorry. I think that we're going to call it a little bit early for tonight's session, so that way when we pick up next week, we'll have all of our preparations ready to go up into the finale of our winter arc. So, with that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and join us for this wonderful excursion through Solaris Relthwyn, the lost elven city beneath the ice. I always have a blast whenever we get to play this game, but I always have a blast whenever these people are on my channel. So, hey, LB, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on the Twitters and the Twitches, where I'm doing some really cool stuff. Tomorrow, I'm going to be playing a game at 3 o'clock. I think I might be playing through Monster Prom by myself. I also might gather some friends and play Monster Prom because I'm really enjoying Monster Prom and Monster Camp. And hopefully I get to woo Scott, because god damn it, I want to woo Scott so bad. After that, I'll be
Scott.
woo. After that, I'll be on GGK for our tabletop. Tuesdays, we're playing Land of Eam, which is a new TTRPG by Rickety Split.
Rickety Stitch and the Gelatinous Goo.
Yes, it's wonderful. I'm playing a Skelly, whose name is I named him Boner. I think they call him Bo. That makes sense. And then Wednesday on my channel, it's a premiere day. We're playing Monster of the Week with Savvy Seaworth from GGK, the Kraken's Crown, aka Val from GGK, Sir Lucian from Sir Lucian's channel, and Jordan with a PH from Jordan with a PH's channel. We're playing Monster of the Week. It's going to be a first episode. It's going to be fun. Let's see how much I have prepared. The overlays are done. Is it going to be a trash fire? I don't know.
Tune in Wednesday to find out.
And then on Thursday, I'll be on Nerd Immersions for Baldur's Gate. And then on Friday, I'll be back on my channel for some horror games with Lauren. We're playing Song of Silence. That sounds right. It's a horror game. It's nice and scary. I got us killed once already, so it's good. And then, yeah, lots of stuff. That's it. Check my Twitter. JanaeKeener.com.
Hoi! I'm Cyber. You can find most of my stuff at cyberwolf1201.live. It's got links to my Twitch, where we went through Celeste in one shot last week. That was fun. That was really good. This week we're gonna chill out for a little bit and play Cat and Toad Treasure Tracker, and it's gonna be great. You know, nice chill one shot before Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood comes out. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so bad.
9 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
But if you are looking for some Werewolf the Apocalypse stuff, don't look at High Shelf Gaming for the rest of this month, because we will not be doing that. But at some point in February, on a Tuesday afternoon, we will be rejoining our wonderful pack. clearly I'm here on Mondays. I'm here also on Thursdays for a couple more weeks while we finish off Tyrant Security. It's going to be great. Crap, what are my other things? Let's talk about it. The podcast that Kyle Winton and I do. It's there. It's cool. We haven't recorded another episode, but check it out anyway, because it's good. Jabroni TV. It's got a lot of cool streamers doing a lot of really cool things. It's got a YouTube channel that should have things coming up really soon. If I can get into editing really quickly, the boyfriends are going to be playing Minecraft again real soon. It's going to be a good time. I went out of order and it ruined me. DanaeKeener.com.
Hey everybody, my name's Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can also find me on Twitter, where I have my streaming schedule, which is to say all of the streams that I am on, because I don't have my own streaming thing. I do have my own streaming thing, but I don't use it. Anyway, that's it. DanaeKeener.com.
And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey, Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/IndoorAdventures. We do shows like this on Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this week as well, I believe we're also having a Wednesday game for our Monster Noir with Danae, Satan, Greybeard, and Koss, our dear friend at LaughMakerD&D on Twitter. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/IndoorAdventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, or you can go towards anywhere audio casts are made available for free. You can find us there under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, we are going to be going into our Patreon-supported after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. So if you have any questions for myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us once again at patreon.com/IndoorAdventures. But with that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by and join us. Thank you to these players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week. And we'll see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.